Part of the bullpen performance by the Athletics tonight involved Justin Lear, the young right-hander up from Sacramento, where he was the closer, and he worked an inning and a third of shutout ball. He did give up a couple of walks, one of which forced in a run, but he'll be talking with Robert Vaughn on our extra inning show tonight after the wrap-up show has run to its conclusion. Let's start from the beginning, as they say. Harden had to weather a little bit of a storm in the first inning when Durham greeted him with a double, and he walked Grissom with one out. But then after Kurt Young paid a visit to the mound, he bore down, pitched to Barry Bonds, and got him to fly out to left field. And then the dangerous Pedro Feliz went to 1-2 and struck out, and Harden seemed to pick up from there. He went on to retire, let's see, 6 straight before that pivotal play in the third inning knocked him out of the ballgame. In the interim, against starter Kirk Reeder of the Giants, the A's got something going with Scott Hatterberg singling with 2 out in the first inning, giving Jermaine Dye a shot in the initial frame, and he worked a full count. Runner going, drive hit to right center field, hit very well, going deep, gone! Jermaine Dye homers with a man aboard over the 388 mark in right center. And the A's have a first inning bump of 2-0 against Kirk Reeder. Number 15 for Jermaine Dye. His 14th beat the Angels 2 days ago.
Great approach by Dye against Reeder. Classic swing against a left-handed pitcher who likes to work the outside corner.
And when we came to the third inning, it was still that 2-0 ball game, and Harden retired the first batter. That was his 6th consecutive batter retired. And Ray Durham put the ball in play next.
Here's the 1-2 pitch now, and Durham, it's the ground ball to the right side to his right. Hatterberg backhand, plants and throws. Harden covering, but he throws it by Harden, and the ball rolls into foul territory, and Durham goes to second. Damian Miller backing up the play, runs the ball back to the infield.
Harden fell down, and I'm not sure that he's hurt. Well, it turned out that he suffered a subluxation of the left shoulder after tripping over the bag and falling forward and landing on the left side. And immediately he left the ball game. Justin Duxbury came on to take over the pitching, and he, of course, had all the time he wanted. But when play resumed, Tucker greeted him with a single to left field, and Durham went to third, and the Giants had a big threat cooking right away, and Grissom made it pay off.
Grissom waiting at the plate. On the way, runner goes from first line, left field line in the corner. Shelty going over, can't get it. The ball went off the wall. Durham will score. Tucker was running on the play, so he will score on a double to left field by Grissom, and the Giants have tied it up. And boy, has this game turned around in a hurry.
Barry Bonds was up next, and Ken Maka ordered him walked intentionally. They pitched to Feliz with runners at first and second. Duxbury got him on a fly ball to Eric Burns in center field. So it was A.J. Pierzynski trying to put the Giants in front. It certainly looked like he was going to do that.
And the pitch to Pierzynski's line to left center. Burns racing in the alley, going back, still racing. It makes an incredible play in there. Did he hold on? Yes, he did in left center field. Eric Burns, I think, initially didn't take the correct route, but recovered quickly and then went back in left center and made a leaping, diving, backhanded play. And then I thought the ball might have popped out, but it was his glove that came off his head, as when the glove hit the ground, the ball stayed in the glove. And a brilliant play in left center field by Eric Burns, keeping this game tied and denying the Giants 2 more runs.
And the veteran Reeder came right out and got 2 outs in the bottom half of the third inning. But Bobby Crosby, who had 3 hits tonight, delivered his first here, shot to right field for 2 bases, bringing up Hatterberg for his second plate appearance of the night.
2-1 pitch, line to right, base hit. Crosby's around third. He will score easily. Hatterberg turning at first will hold on as Crosby scores on a solid single to right by the RBI machine, Scott Hatterberg, and the A's reclaim the lead at 3-2 Athletics.
Justin Duxbury then went on. He gave up a couple of singles in the fourth inning, but got Durham and Tucker to keep the Giants off the board. He pitched a 1-2-3 fifth. Reeder didn't let the A's have anything at all in the fourth and fifth innings, and so we stayed in that 3-2 mode until Duxbury got 1 out in the sixth. Then Davy Cruz, who's been a red-hot hitter during the recent Giant homestand, and so far in this series, single to left field. After J.T. Snow struck out, Dustin Moore kept the rally going with a single, putting runners at first and second. And here was the call for Justin Lear. The rookie right-hander called up just on the 17th of this month, came in to make his fourth Major League appearance. Durham worked him to 3-1, and he drew a ball 4. Bases were loaded. No place to put another one, and the veteran Tucker now and Lear set out to duel. Damian Miller, deep in thought, puts down the sign. Crowd on the edge of the seats. Bases full, 3-2. Ball 4, it's tied. He threw him a fastball, and it was high. Back-to-back walks since Lear came in the game to Durham and Tucker. Cruz scores the tying run. So here was Grissom coming up, and with Bonds behind him, it was imperative to get Grissom. Lear settled down, got him to ground into a 5-4 force out. The inning ended, and we had ourselves a 3-3 ball game. The A's did nothing in the 6th inning off of Reeder, and so we went into the latter stages of this contest all even. And in the 7th inning, Lear continued on the mound, and he popped up Bonds to start the inning. Then Feliz made it look like real trouble.
Pitch by Lear is swung on and ripped to left center. Burns going back. Burns in the alley. He's there. He leads. He makes the catch. It crashes into the wall. It hangs on. Another sparkling play tonight by Eric Burns. And the place loves it. Burns tracking it, got back there, leaped, crashed into the wall, actually right into the American flag with a backhanded play.
Reeder pitched into the 7th inning, and Eric Karras nailed him for a double to right center field to start the inning. Gave way to a pinch runner, Ramon Castro, and made Karras for his career against Reeder 16 for 50, and Karras getting one of his infrequent starts tonight made a big contribution with that one. Damian Miller rolled out to the right side to get Castro over to third base and bring up Marco Scutaro. Scutaro had a very hot homestand before the A's went on the road, but since then, at this point, he had been just 4 for his last, let's see, what was that? I think it was 4 for 31, as I recall. Didn't matter after this at bat.
Again, the Giants' infield is in, and it's on the way with a runner at third. Driven to left center field, up the alley, and nobody's there, and that will go to the wall. Castro can walk home. Scutaro goes to second with a double, and the Athletics have taken a 4-3 lead. So Marco Scutaro bangs a 2-base hit to left center, his first hit tonight. And the A's take the lead.
And in the interest of total accuracy, had been 5 for his last 41 up to that at-bat. That sent Reeder to the showers and brought in Tyler Walker, the San Francisco native, pitching for the Giants these days. He gave up a single to Herman to right field, putting runners at the corners. He gave the pitching chores over to Scott Ayer, the left-hander, because Mark Kotze had been announced as a pinch hitter for Eric Burns, and Ayer was in to face Kotze.
Air at the belt. It's on the way, and Mark swings. It's a ground ball to the hole, smothered by Snow. Gets up. He's got nowhere to go. Everybody is safe, and the run scores. Scutaro scores from third. Herman goes to second. Kotze is safe at first, and the A's take a 5-3 lead. J.T. Snow, the perennial Gold Glover, diving, made a good play, and a ball that really wasn't that well hit. Initially looked to the plate. Scutaro was going to score there. So Snow had no play at the plate. He looked at second for a possible fourth. He had no play there on Herman, and looked to first, and nobody was home. He had no play there.
Ayer had not left the mound until very late. Well, that was the end for Ayer, and in came the veteran Felix Rodriguez, who can fire BBs in the late innings for the Giants and is having a good year. But Bobby Crosby is not a guy that acts like some callow rookie. He was the first man that Rodriguez had to deal with.
The 1-1 pitch, and it's swung on, hit to right field. Tucker's going back. Tucker's at the track, and it's off the wall, off the base of the wall. Herman is rounding third. He will score. Kotze is the third. They're going to hold him there on an opposite field double off the base of the wall to right field by Bobby Crosby. It is 6-3 Athletics. And I think Tucker was surprised by how well that ball was hit the other way. And the kid shortstop is 2 for 4 with 2 doubles today.
When Hatterberg drew a base on balls, it made it look as if the A's were in for a lot more scoring in the inning, but Rodriguez then got squared away. He struck out Dye, and he got Kelty on a ground ball on 3-2, and the A's settled for 3. But that looked pretty good, didn't it? 6-3. Wow. Jim Basier came in the 8th inning, but after getting the first out, ran into trouble when he walked Snow and then gave up a hit to Dustin Moore. And to make it even worse, he walked Durham, and just like that, the bases were loaded, and that 3-run lead didn't look so big at all. Octavio Dotel had been warming up in the bullpen. The fans were delighted to see him come on the scene, and he did not disappoint them as he faced Tucker, who would be followed by Grissom. Tucker first.
Bases loaded. And the pitch by Dotel is on the way, and it swung on. It popped up on the infield. Crosby, the shortstop, is calling, waiting, makes the catch, 2 away. 1 pitch by Dotel, and Tucker pops out.
Still, he had to deal with Grissom, and of course, if you don't get Grissom, then you've got Bonds waiting, and of course, the bases are loaded. No room for error. He came right after him, got to 1-2.
Many of the folks still standing of the all-time record Coliseum crowd. Snow at third, Moore at second, Durham at first. A's 6, Giants 3, 2 out, top of the 8th. Now ready, the 1-2 pitch is swung out and missed. He got it with a breaking ball. And welcome to Oakland, Octavio. And the place loves it. The Coliseum erupts. Dotel comes on, pops out Tucker, strikes out Grissom, and how's that for a debut? The Giants leave 3, and we go to the bottom of the 8th. A's 6, Giants 3.
The A's looked to add on against Rodriguez, particularly when Durazo singled and Miller drew a walk, but a double play ball hit by Scudero put the quietus for the moment on the rally. Herman, though, picked it up with a single to right, and the A's had that insurance run to make it 7-3 for Dotel to pitch the 9th inning, send everybody home happy after 8.5, right? Isn't that the script? Doesn't always work that way, does it? Not these days. Bonds drew a base on balls to lead off the inning as Dotel appeared to be pitching very carefully. Feliz followed with a single to left field, and then A.J. Pierzynski stepped in, and he was ready for Dotel's first offering. Dotel's pitch. Swing and a drive. That's hit deep to right field, and that is a home run. A.J. Pierzynski on the first pitch homers into the right field bleachers above the scoreboard, and just like that, the A's lead is 7-6, and nobody out in the 9th inning. How much tougher can it get? Well, maybe Davy Cruz can make it tougher. Swung on, drive to left. That one is deep, toward the scoreboard. Off the scoreboard, over the head of Kelty. Bouncing back to the infield. Cruz at second base, rounding and stopping. And suddenly, after a walk to Bonds, his world is exploding around Octavio Dotel. And then Cody Ransom ran for Cruz at second base. J.T. Snow is the batter. He was hit. Runners at first and second. He gave way to Nafi Perez as a pinch runner, and Moore advanced the runners to second and third with a sacrifice. Durham, top of the order, coming up. He was walked intentionally to load the bases. Still, mind you, only 1 out, and Tucker at the plate. Remember, bases loaded in the 8th. Dotel's first batter faces an Athletic. He popped him up. Could he do it again? Drive to left. Hit deep. Back on it, Kelty. He is at the warning track and makes the catch. Here's the tag up, and Ransom sprints home. Tie game. Tucker going deep opposite field with a sacrifice fly. And eventually, Grissom grounded out to first, ended the inning in a tie. The A's came up in the bottom of the 9th. Jim Brower taking over for the Giants. Crosby checked in with his third hit of the game, a single to right field. But after Hatterberg popped out, Dye hit into a double play, and we were headed for extra innings. Dotel stayed in the ball game, came out to start the 10th, and Bonds singled through the shift on the right side to get the inning rolling, but Dotel struck out the dangerous Feliz. He got Pierzynski this time to hit into a 1-6-3 double play and get the A's into the bottom of the 10th inning with a chance to win it if they could find a way to score a run on Brower. Kelty, who had been really struggling and hadn't had a lot of at-bats recently, had come to the plate in that 10th inning, won for his last 26, but he singled to right field. Durazo then flied out, and Miller struck out after Kelty stole second base. So with the base open, the Giants elected to pitch to Scudero and try to get the third out and send it further into the night. And Marco had his own answer. Here's the pitch. Scudero drives it into the gap to the right side, base hit. Here's Kelty around third. Tucker in shallow right, throwing to the plate. The slide, save. The A's win the game. Marco Scudero's two-out single to right. Scores Bobby Kelty from second base. And the long, twisted, torturous trail comes to an end. And the series is even at a game apiece. The Giants' winning streak ends at 7. And before the biggest house for baseball in the history of the Coliseum, the A's gather in a big gold and green cluster around the mound. The end of a long, difficult night on a victorious note. And the final score in 10.